Puka Nacua retiring early. Davante Adams talks about signing with the Rams, and the Rams bring back an offensive lineman. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramily, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams, free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're also available over on YouTube, so if you haven't yet, do me a huge favor, subscribe to the fastest growing Rams YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, and also drop your comments down below. We're going to start featuring your comments on a weekly mailbag episode that will be starting this week. So if you have a question you want to answer it on the show, all you got to do is drop them down below in the comment section. My name is Doug McCain. Friends call me DMAC. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. I've been covering LA sports for over a decade, 24/7 sports, Bleacher Report, SI, Dodgers Nation. I also do NFL radio for Westwood One. Today I'm flying solo, the People's Champ, Mr. Travis Rogers. He'll be back joining me tomorrow, but we've got a jam-packed episode. Lots to get into. The Rams bring back a lineman, and we're going to get into the contract they gave him that is a strong indication of the role he's going to have on this team. Is that a good idea? Also, Puka Nacua retiring early. We'll get into that, but first, let's talk about Davante Adams. Davante Adams has met the media. He's appeared on some shows. He talked about Matthew Stafford, some really cool stories about the respect he has for his new quarterback, and I think the first thing that sticks out is he wants to be on a winner. And in Rappaport, he reported that he wants to finish his career with the Rams. And I think that says a lot because he has a contract where it could be a one-year deal the way you look at it with the kind of money that he's looking for at this stage of his career. I think it's just about security. I think he wants to be an organization that's competing for titles every season, and he wants to win a Lombardi Trophy before he retires with a career that is going to land him in the Hall of Fame one day. I mean, that's how good Davante Adams is, one of the receivers of his generation. And he had some really interesting comments that he made about just wanting to win again. And he said, the signing and this opportunity has given me a whole new outlook in life, just football-wise. In general, being in Vegas and going to New York and losing pretty consistently over the last 3 seasons has not taken it out of me, but it was starting to take a toll on me mentally a little bit, especially when you become accustomed to winning games. Over the course of 8 years, I won a lot of games in Green Bay, so I still have not let go of that burning desire to get back on top in the win column, and I'm definitely looking forward to do it. So I'm putting in all the work that I have, and I'm going to do it now. So he makes the point that, look, when he was in Green Bay, that was a good team. Aaron Rodgers in his prime, that Packers organization buttoned up, competing for division titles, get into the NFC Championship game, didn't get over the hump with Davante Adams, but still, that was a team that won a lot of games. And he played in 11 postseason games with the Packers. And in the regular season, he played 116 games with the Packers. They won 74-41-1. So he was used to success. Then he goes to the Raiders. And with the Raiders and the Jets, those two teams just were dysfunctional organizations. They didn't sniff the playoffs. He went a combined 18-30. 18 wins, 30 losses in 48 games combined with the Raiders and the Jets. So those experiences, I think, led him to Los Angeles, led him to an organization that is the polar opposite of what the Jets and what the Raiders have been in the last 5 to 10 years. Those are organizations going through quarterbacks, going through coaches, not having everything buttoned up from an ownership standpoint, a general manager standpoint. I mean, you got Woody Johnson looking at Madden to evaluate players. You're going through coaches in Las Vegas. The Rams have Sean McVay and Les Snead in an ownership group that is committed to winning. And Davante Adams saw an opportunity to join a quarterback that had recommitted to this organization, that wants to be in the Hall of Fame one day, that wants to win another Super Bowl championship. And I think that if his career ended, Matthew Stafford would be in Canton. But still, legacy stage. Just pad that legacy, going after another title. I think he wants to win a Super Bowl MVP, right? So I think all of that led Davante Adams to the Los Angeles Rams. And I think for me, it's the respect that Davante Adams has for Matthew Stafford. Remember, he could have followed Aaron Rodgers and joined a team with him. They got a package deal, right? You saw the appearance when they're on the Pat McAfee show and Aaron Rodgers is sitting down talking to Pat McAfee, and Davante Adams, he comes and pokes in the back, and he looks like he's really excited to be there. That team really didn't do anything after that. So I think that Davante Adams getting traded to the Jets and linking back up with Aaron Rodgers was the best thing that happened for the Rams, because I think that let Davante Adams know that, hey, you'd rather be with Matthew Stafford than Aaron Rodgers at this stage of their careers. Stafford's not in his 40s yet. Stafford is in a better organization and was 14 yards away from an NFC Championship game. So I think that all of these little developments in Davante Adams' career are what led him to the Rams. And there's a really cool story that Davante Adams mentioned about when the two were going up against each other, when Davante Adams was on the Packers and you had Matthew Stafford on the Detroit Lions, and they were in that division. And he said about Matthew Stafford, he doesn't make it any harder than it needs to be out there. He's simple. Dating back to when Megatron broke the record, I think he needed like 180 something, and he went and got him like 220 something. Seeing that and just knowing that in that situation, I don't think they were headed anywhere near the playoffs. But to play in that game, not check out in the last game of the year, know how much that means to Megatron, and know how much that means to him to be part of something like that, it just says the type of person that he is. Playing each other over the years and crossing paths a few times, I gathered that he was a pretty nice, straightforward guy. You never hear anything bad in the media or anything like that. Coming out here and getting a chance to meet with him and talk with him a little bit just kind of solidified it. I talked to him while I was in Japan as well. He reached out and let me know he was excited about the opportunity. I don't know if he was quite as eager as Sean was, but it was still a good feeling knowing that the quarterback wants you to be there too. So, by the way, like I said, Sean McVay, I think the recruiting was on big time. I don't know if it was full-blown Nick Saban doing the Cupid shuffle in the living rooms of recruits at Alabama when he's trying to get 5 stars, but I think Sean McVay was heavily recruiting Davante Adams. Here is a window into that based on his comments. And look, the other big thing is, how is he going to play with Puka Nacua? How are those two going to combine and form a dynamic duo? And we saw in a short sample size how Davante Adams looked playing alongside Garrett Wilson, a young, talented receiver. And if you look at the success they both had, Davante Adams mentioned it. He said, I had the pleasure of playing with Garrett Wilson out there in New York last year. Similar to that situation, we go play in Miami, and Jalen doesn't know if he's going to go to him or go with me. If you want to follow one or follow the other, either way you're going to pay. It's going to be difficult. We actually have to put the work in and do everything that's going to lead us to having that success. But on paper, it's definitely going to be a hell of a test for the opposition. Both of us went out there and did our thing, so I'm hoping it'll look similar with me and Puka. So in their 11 games they played together, Davante Adams, he averaged 77.6 yards per game. Wilson, 64.9 yards per game. They scored 7 touchdowns. They combined for almost 2,000 yards despite the Jets not having a good offense for most of the season. So I think this is the easiest call ever. This will be the first time since 2019 that the Rams will have 2 1,000-yard receivers on the same team. It hasn't happened since Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp did it, when Robert Woods had an 1,100-plus yard season in 2019. And Cooper Kupp, he went past that 1,000-yard mark as well. So, look, I think that is the mindset, the mentality is they want to go out there and have success together. And I think that the proof is in the results. And Puka's excited. Davante's excited. Sean McVay, we know, is extremely excited. I think Matthew Stafford, he's not the type of guy to get on the phone and kind of jump for joy. He's going to be Matthew Stafford, right? He's even keel. He's someone that, his guy Cooper Kupp, he goes to Seattle, and he actually talked about that pretty recently that, he's going to be rooting for Cooper Kupp as long as it's not against the Rams, and he was happy that he did get a deal that was worth his value. But I know deep inside, Matthew Stafford could not be any happier because he got a weapon that's going to significantly raise the ceiling of this Rams offense. Yeah, the biggest kicker for me is Rappaport saying that the Rams are where he wants to finish his career. So if he wants to finish his career here, he's going to be incentivized to go out there and produce, and I think he's going to be just that. I think Davante Adams is on that short list of biggest free agency additions, and it's going to be an exciting time to be a Rams fan watching this offense and giving Matthew Stafford that explosive weapon, that elite wideout that we've been craving, and pairing him alongside Puka Nacua. But coming up next, we're going to talk about Puka Nacua and some comments that he made that could signal an early retirement for Puka. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. I've got my eye on a few underdogs this year. McNeese State, they're out. You got Arkansas still in the mix. A lot of the best teams are winning this year, March Madness, but still, FanDuel, they make it easy to back them with spreads, totals, and game props. With tournament games happening almost every day, there's always something exciting to bet on. The FanDuel app is simple to use, and when I win, I get paid instantly, no waiting around. So visit FanDuel.com to get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. And we are off and running here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Another reminder, if you haven't yet, do us a huge favor. Subscribe to the Locked On Rams YouTube channel, the fastest growing Rams YouTube channel in the game. And if you're on the podcast, we appreciate all the listeners. If you guys want to write a review for the podcast, we will read it on the show. So please do that. But now's a great time to join that Everyday Listeners Club. You've got a all-in franchise, some of the most exciting players in the league. The Rams are always in the national conversation, whether it be trades and rumors. And this is the great time to be a Rams fan, and you want to make sure you don't miss a thing. So definitely join that Everyday Listeners Club. Okay, so this threw me off a little bit. Puka Nacua had some very interesting comments. He was on the Join the Lobby podcast, and he was talking about his career and the potential of retiring early, calling it a career earlier than most NFL players that are as good and of the caliber of Puka Nacua. Puka said, I know I want to retire at the age of 30. I'm 23 right now. I'm going into year 3. It wouldn't even be 10 years. It maybe be 7 or 8. I think of Aaron Donald to go out at the top. I think it would be super cool, but also I want to have a big family. I want to have at least a starting 5. I came from a big family, so I need 5 boys for sure, but also I want to be able to be part of their lives and be as active as I can with them. The injuries are something you can't control. That's part of the game, so you never know. Hopefully the rest of the career can go healthy, but you have shoulder surgery, you have knee surgery, you have ankle. By the time my kids could be 18, I could be barely walking if you play the game and sustain all the injuries and stuff like that, but I want to retire early. So those are very interesting comments, and I know Rams fans might be a little up in arms about them. It's okay, can you focus on your career? Why are you talking about the ending of your career? But look, if you talk to these NFL players, man, if you talk to these college players, they'll tell you that they still feel bumps and bruises from years ago. It's such a physical game. they put their bodies really on the line, and it's the surgeries, it's the wear and tear. And like he said, he wants to have a big family, he wants to be able to play with his kids. So every player has their own decisions to make, their own choices to make, how they want their careers to pan out. But I think if you're a Rams fan, you should feel good about this. You know why? Because that is going to further incentivize him into making the most of his career while he's playing. He said he wants to go out on top like Aaron Donald. So that means maybe bookend Super Bowls, right? While he's playing this season, you win a Super Bowl. You win one later, and then we're talking about a Rams franchise that has 4 Super Bowls to their name. So I don't think this means he doesn't love the game of football. I don't think this means he's trying to just, okay, let's get paid and let's go right off in the sunset and have a family. No, it's not saying that at all. And who knows? I mean, a lot of players can say stuff like this. Kyrie Irving famously said he wanted to retire at the age of 30. He's still playing into his 30s, right? I mean, there are examples of guys that have had success past 30. Who's a guy that's had success past 30 at that position? Who's the guy that comes to mind? That's right. It's his own new teammate, Davante Adams. I mean, Davante Adams, he just had a 1,063-yard season in 14 games. You got guys like Calvin Ridley and Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, Keenan Allen. Those are all guys that have been able to have sustained success. They've been able to remain productive, even though they have gone past the age of 30. And that is something he could go towards. But he has dealt injuries throughout his career. I mean, I think that not all receivers are created equal when it comes to what they've dealt with early on in their careers. And Puka Nacua certainly is someone that has been banged up. And we saw him, he exited the first game of the season this year. He has dealt with ankle. He's dealt with shoulder. He has dealt with injuries throughout his career, even before he was with the Rams. And that's one of the reasons why they're able to get him with their 4th pick in the 5th round in the draft a couple of years ago. So, look, I mean, this is an interesting thing to say because it's a pretty bold statement. And we all lived through the shock of Aaron Donald retiring when he did after playing 10 seasons. Look, the NFL, they're gladiators, man. This is a very physical sport. So I don't fault. Look, I mean, just look at the list of guys. Here's the thing. Look at the list of guys that did retire early. Calvin Johnson, Megatron. We've talked about him a couple times in the show. One of the best receivers ever. At his peak, he was absolutely unstoppable. A physical force, an absolute force of nature. Aaron Donald, one of, if not the best to ever do it on the defensive side of the football, certainly in the conversation. Luke Kuechly, Andrew Luck, Barry Sanders. I mean, there are guys that have retired before their bodies have completely failed them, and they've kind of got out of the game while they were still productive. They weren't dragged off the field. And there's other guys too, like I mentioned, the guys that are post 30 that have been able to have success. And I think a lot of it has to do with the kind of career that he wants to put together, right? I mean, the kind of legacy he wants to leave. If you're someone that just can't get away from the game, I mean, Jerry Rice played for the Seahawks, right? He played for so many teams towards the end. He just could not quit the game of football because he loved it so much. There's guys like that, and there's guys that want to get out of there. I mean, look at Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice played 303 games, 22,895 yards, 197 touchdowns. He's got all the records in the record book, right? Most yards, most receptions, most touchdowns. He has so many records that, he played with Seattle, Oakland, San Francisco. So, I mean, he bounced around a little bit at the end. He played till he was 42. And when he was with I'm not comparing Puka Nacua to Jerry Rice or anything like that, but there's just different ways to plan out your career. Some guys, it's drag me off the field. I'm not getting off this field until you're telling me that you have to get off the field. I mean, I remember there's a quote in Moneyball where it's, hey, for most players, you're going to be playing this game until someone tells you you can't play this game anymore. It's an empowering thing, I think, for these players to have that ability to say, you know what? No, I say when I'm not going to be playing this game. It's not going to be a general manager. It's not going to be a front office executive. It's not going to be a coach. I am going to be calling the shots. So it just depends on the player. I mean, look at Davante Adams. I mean, for his career, 11,844 yards, 103 touchdowns, 957 receptions total. I mean, he's had 5 straight seasons over 1,000 yards receiving before the 2024 season, and he even put that up there. So, I mean, he's someone that has had 100 yards, 100 receiving, 100 receptions a year for the last 4 seasons from 2020, 2023. These stretches of consistency for Adams in his late 20s and early 30s. Some guys can do it, some guys can't. Some guys can fall off a cliff, some guys won't. So I think for Puka Nacua, these are interesting comments. He's kind of been making his rounds in the offseason. I don't think this is something that should make Rams fans feel upset or anything like that. So, I mean, for me, I think that it's just a testament to the kind of player that you're hopefully going to get for the remainder of his career. And I think that's the thing you need to focus on. I mean, what will Puka Nacua even look like when he's close to 30? And I think that's really the ultimate tell, right? I think get the most out of Puka now, have him have his career success, and then if he wants to retire, let him retire. But let's do it with 1 or 2 Super Bowls on his resume, a couple Super Bowl rings before he hangs them up. I just hate that. It's kind of, I don't know, it makes you feel some type of way with it. Just thinking about him retiring. I mean, let's have a great career and let's enjoy this. But I appreciate the candor, right? I mean, he's definitely excited to go on podcasts and kind of reveal some things. So you got to give him credit. He's a great guest on shows. But coming up next, the Rams bring back a lineman, and the contract tells you exactly how he's most likely going to be used. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. What is up, Ramley, and welcome back to Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Okay, so the Rams, they bring back Coleman Shelton. And Coleman Shelton, if you look at his deal, a 2-year, $12 million deal, he's got a $4.5 million cap hit. That puts him at 14th among all NFL centers, a $6 million in cash earned in 2025. That ties him at 11th. He's got $6 million fully guaranteed. That's a number that's pretty strong for the position. That tells you that he has starters money. And they did have success with Bo Limmer last season, where he took over the spot from Jonah Jackson. And look, the Rams have shown they're willing to pay a guy $17 million and not play him, right? They're going to play the best guys. They're not going to get stuck on the contract. But I do think that this, at the very least, gives them the opportunity to put Coleman Shelton in there if Bo Limmer can't earn the job in training camp. And I think that if you thought that they were just going to plug Limmer in there as the long-term starter, that's not how this thing is going to work. I mean, Bo Limmer was a 6th-round pick last year. He did play really, really well. I did say that he was going to be a surprise starter before the season even started because I've heard so many good things about Bo Limmer and just his ability, his strength, his athleticism. But I do think that the Rams and Les Snead and Sean McVay, they are signaling that they think that Coleman Shelton, if everything works out right, he could potentially outplay Bo Limmer, or at the very least, be a guy you plugs in if Limmer does not level up or he does not build on last season, if he regresses or anything like that. And if you look at some of his numbers, the numbers of Coleman Shelton in 2024, I mean, he was 38th out of 43 qualifying centers in PFF overall grade of 55.5. Shelton, though, he's gotten better, and those were the numbers for Bo Limmer, right? I mean, the center numbers for Bo Limmer being at 55.5 a PFF grade. That's 38th out of 43 qualifying centers. So that's not elite, right? It's serviceable, and it's definitely, you feel good about the value that he was a 6th-round pick, able to even start. But Shelton, he's gotten better every single year that he started. A 58 PFF grade in 2022. Had a 66.4 PFF grade last season. That was a career high. So things for Coleman Shelton are trending in the right direction. He definitely has upside. His trajectory is pointed up. And I think the Rams, they saw a way to get better on the margins on this one. So I do think at the end of the day, that they're going to give an opportunity to play. I think that if I had to pick right now, it does feel like Coleman Shelton, at the very least, is going to get some runway. He's going to get some runway. Limmer's a younger guy. He is on a rookie deal. So if he struggles in year 2, they're going to either replace him right away or just it's like, hey, you get your chance now. You run with it. Here's your chance, or boom, we got this guy Coleman Shelton. Or if Shelton outplays him in training camp, I think that they won't think twice about just initially going with him right out of the gate. So this is an interesting move. I think this is a move that really speaks to how well the Rams look at not just adding the superstar players that we've talked about in this episode, right? Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and all these guys, right? For other teams as well, they're not always focused on that. They're also putting a lot of attention towards adding some of the guys on the margins, because that's how you really win in this league, right? It's the talent pool between the best team and the worst team is a lot closer than in Major League Baseball or the NBA or other sports. So if you can get an upgrade, even if it's marginal, you get so much more consistent. And with the way they've gone with this power, this gap duo scheme that we've seen, a little more of a physical style of running, and you want to maintain Matthew Stafford, keep him upright, you always got to focus on the offensive line, because you brought back Alaric Jackson, who's average to above average, not elite. So it's about how do you improve other areas of that offensive line, and plugging in Coleman Shelton is certainly that. By the way, I did mention Cooper Kupp a second ago. And Matthew Stafford was asked about Kupp signing with the Seahawks, and Stafford said, I have a ton of respect for him, the way he goes about his business and the way he plays the game. He's been a big-time player in this league for a long time, so happy to have him. I know he's going to be a big addition, so yeah, to the Seahawks. So look, I mean, good for him. It does feel really weird to see Cooper Kupp in a Seahawks uniform and just staying in the division, and we know he's from Washington, so yeah, you got to feel happy that he's staying in the West Coast, and he kind of wanted to be here. But yeah, it's good. That first game, it's going to feel really, really weird, because it is a division opponent, and you're going to see him 2 times a season. And look, if you're really about this Rams life, right, and the Seahawks are a team that you need to beat, it's kind of one of those things where, yeah, I mean, it's you're going to root for a player when you respect him and he did a lot for your organization, and at some point he'll have his moment here. Maybe they retire his jersey, maybe they don't, but he's certainly going to, I think, get back into the Rams organization like we've seen with Todd Gurley and guys like that at some point. But right now, he's the enemy. He really is. And no love lost for me. I think for me, Cooper Kupp is certainly one of those iconic players in the Rams' return to Los Angeles. And I think for him, a part of the reason why I want to go to the Seahawks was a little bit of, hey, I'm motivated, and I'm circling those Rams games on my calendar because he wants to bring it against his old team. So that's going to be really interesting to see. But look, at the end of the day, football is a business. I think the Rams offense is better now with the addition of Davante Adams. So at the end of the day, I support a team. I do this professionally too, but I will say that there's nothing that's more fun than winning or covering a team that is winning. So it was the best move for this organization. But that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Rams. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. If you haven't yet, do me a huge favor. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, comment down below so you are eligible for our mailbag episode. Definitely do that, and we'll answer your questions, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But you guys, stay locked in all off season, and remember that there's nothing better than Rams football, and it's whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.